Greetings, shining star, and welcome to another story of hope and success. I'm Dr. B, and I'm here today with Dr. Jyh-Hann Chang, one of my colleagues from East Stroudsburg University, where he is a professor in the psychology department. John, welcome. Can you tell the listeners today a little bit about yourself?
Hello, Bonnie. It's good to see you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, my name is John, and I am a professor of psychology at ESU. Um, I am a graduate of University of Connecticut. Go Husky!
Go
Uh,
Huskies.
love the women's basketball. I also have a degree from Arcadia College or Science College, and I think Fairleigh Dickinson University. So I've been around a lot of different universities, but I've been at ESU for 20 years about, and
Yeah.
practicing perfect a teacher, and also I'm a clinician. I'm a clinical psychologist, so I've always had a private practice over these other 30 years I've been a psychologist.
Well, that's pretty exciting. And 20 years at East Stroudsburg, the year's gone pretty quickly.
Yes, it has.
So, John, one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you is that you've experienced a few challenges in your life. Are there any challenges that you would like to share with the audience today that you've overcome as you continue down your journey of success?
Well, I guess the most prominent one is uh, me being in a wheelchair. You probably can't see it via this angle here
Mm-hmm.
of this camera, but I am an individual with quadriplegia. I survived a surfing accident when I was 19, which has unfortunately given me a paralysis from neck down. I can move my arms, but um, I require a lot of help in getting through my professional day and my personal day. So a lot of assistance with my wife, Jessica, and my caregivers, and my academic assistants. So yeah, it's unfortunately unfortunately, I'm not physically independent, but I am most of the time mentally independent. So I can make a lot of my own decisions, and I can teach and I can see clients, but unfortunately, I do require a lot of physical help to get through the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that is really shocking when you go from being, so physically active that you were surfing, and to being confined, um, physically. And so clearly, though, you've continued down the path of success with such a major change, something that none of us really imagine could even happen. What were some of the strategies, and what are some of the strategies that you use today to help you navigate this?
Well, one of the things that came out that really impacted my life was the fact that I could not be a medical doctor.
Mm,
My paralysis limited me from fulfilling the physical requirement to go into medicine. So at that point, I didn't know a lot about psychology. I knew I wanted something that wasn't going to restrict me. And I felt, well, I probably could be a psychologist using my mind and my ability to communicate verbally.
mhm,
And I also wanted to be a teacher. My mother is a retired teacher, and so I thought teaching. I was always been around teaching, so I thought, mixing those two things would be really nice. And so I wanted something that I can control, locus of
mhm,
control, where
mhm,
I had internal locus of control, and I didn't want someone to tell me I can do something well. So
mhm.
that's how I got into psychology, and that's how I got into teaching, and wanted to be able to control my life as best I could.
Wow. Well, and you know, a lot of times when bad things happen, people sometimes try to ignore them. But it sounds to me like you just, as awful and as ugly and as challenging as it was, that you acknowledge the ugliness of it while also building upon your strengths. Because I know people listening today, you only get a little glimpse of John, but he is one of the most personable human beings I've ever met. And so you remind me a lot of my dad, in fact, who you can connect with anybody. And that's definitely not true about me. That's not one of my strengths. So you were able to take that strength of being both self-aware and aware of others and that friendliness and move it into a space that's so important, whether it's counseling or teaching.
Well, I think part of that was my need or requirement to be. Um, we worked in a business on like the cliche of a Asian family coming,
Mm,
immigrating, having a small business, father, mother having a Chinese restaurant. So I had to be a server, quite young, and
mm,
all those young years of having to talk to strangers and try to
hmm
be their best friend, even though you never ever met them, sort of had developed my ability to interact. Um, I've always been an optimist. I think that
hmm
helps, where
hmm
I'm not always looking at the negativity of my life, although, as Bonnie would know, there are significant negatives to my life, which doesn't ever go away,
hmm
which are chronic in nature, but I try to let those get by and try to see the positive aspects of those. So communication, optimism a little bit, and probably some good practice of being interpersonal has helped get over this disability, physical
hmm
limitations.
Wow. Well, that definitely aligns with a lot of what I've seen. But in the professional realm, um, the I know maybe to you, it might feel like you have these physical limitations, but you don't see them in the classroom at
Mhm.
all. It's a space where you really get to shine, and in your research with your undergraduates. And all of those successes that you've had in those spaces have led you to receive one of the highest honors a faculty member can have. Can you tell us a little bit about um, becoming a distinguished professor, and what do you think it is about your particular journey of success that helped differentiate you from others in that really important way and well-deserved way?
No, thanks, Bonnie. I appreciate you saying that. I, I see a lot of great colleagues, including Bonnie, as a great teacher in our department. And I just got, in some ways, I got lucky. People recognize some of the skill sets I'm bringing in. And you're right. It's in the beginning of every class, every new semester, it's a little awkward transition from people looking at me and
Mhm,
trying to get past the stereotypes that may come along with being physically disabled, or even being Asian, or even being bald when I'm losing my
mhm,
hair and getting old. Um, and so we get through that transition, that first week of getting to know each other. And I think being a clinician in the field of people has helped allow me to relate to the young kids. They have such energy and
mhm.
passion, maybe sometimes misguided and
Sometimes.
a little ADD at times, um, but so I use that to my advantage. I'm fortunate that I don't have to feel so bad about my disability, although it does. Again, I don't want to minimize the impact how much my disability has on my life.
hmm
At times I probably get so frustrated with it, but I have so much other parts of my life that allows me to hang my hat on, which is my teaching. And
hmm
yeah, I thank you. I thank the colleagues for recognizing that. But I'm just blessed to be alive, and I'm just blessed to be teaching.
Mm.
I love my job. So, but yeah, I hope I explained that a little bit. Uh,
I I think you did, and one of the points that you brought up um, in our discussion of your story of hope and success is such an important one, and that is gratitude. That by having that grateful heart, even when things are not perfect in our lives,
Mhm.
is a common characteristic of people on that journey of success. And so, you definitely have talked about that gratitude, and because I get to work with you, I absolutely see it. I see how your eyes sparkle. You're so grateful for our students, as am I, and that definitely helps um, feed us. How do you think having a gratitude focused vision um, contributes to your success?
I think you did hit a key on um, surviving or being successful as a human being is that you have to at times, or most of the time, be grateful for the things around you. Now, sometimes you think it's easier to be grateful if you have things to be
Yeah.
grateful, right? But if you
Hmm.
follow Viktor Frankl's meaning, man's meaning of man's search for meaning,
Hmm.
he was in a concentration camp and he still was grateful, even though his relatives were all, killed off. And so, can you be grateful when you have nothing? Can you be grateful when you have everything? I think yes. It is a mindset. I think it's a mindset that you have to choose to take on, no matter where you're at. Um, so I hope that makes sense to you. But for
Yeah.
me, I just have to focus on the positive and the
Hmm.
things that are around me that makes me feel good. Uh,
Hmm.
it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole of negativity, and I go there sometimes too, but I just don't stay there long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's an important point that from time to time my mom used to say, she just needed a couple of hours to feel sorry for herself sometimes when she was in hospice. But then she knew to pull herself out of that.
Mhm.
Um,
I
so,
had,
oh, go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
Bill. I had students who used to talk about having that big tearful cry by
Mm,
themselves. And I'm not a person that would do that. And I thought it fascinating when students tell me that they would go off somewhere by themselves and just
mm,
cry. And I said, how'd you feel after that? I felt great. I just had to get it out. And
yeah.
so, yeah, we all need that part in our life that you just gotta let it out or be in a bad spot and then but at the end you're better off at the end.
Right, when we focus on that gratitude place. Well, before we leave, if you don't mind, could you tell our listeners a little bit about your research? Because I find your research extremely fascinating.
I
Uh,
am sorry that the clouds just came through and it's coming through the
oh, that's fine. You look great.
I apologize. The clouds are the sun all of a sudden broke and I
You look
so
fine. You look fine.
um yeah, my research on compassion of others, many of the works out there is always about Western concept of self-compassion. It's a and the whole philosophy that you have to heal thyself before you can heal others, or
Mm,
you have to be in a better position in order for others to be better. Whereas in the Eastern cultures, it was the thought is always about you got to make sure the society's in a better place, and then
mm,
by doing that, you're going to be in a better place. So
mm-hmm,
my thought on that was the compassion of others, a very Buddhist-like concept of being empathetic, being and alleviating someone's suffering. Now, what mine suggests a little bit different is it has a temporal component, that you have to be empathetic first before you try to alleviate someone's suffering. If you alleviate someone's suffering without understanding why they're suffering, that's not at least how I define the compassion of
mm-hmm,
others. So I think that's a big distinction. But most of my works has been throughout most of my university time has been working with students and understanding different facets of how does compassion affect our personality, our livelihood, our quality of life.
right. Yeah. And um, if we practice, although it's not necessarily a characteristic of people on a journey of success, it sounds to me, though, that if we practice empathy and taking action to alleviate the suffering of others, that also can potentially feed our spirits.
That is the the concept that it's the focus of helping others, therefore helping thyself.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you, Dr. Chang, for joining us today and a story of hope and success. This is Dr. B. And to all my shining stars out there, I hope that your star shines brightly, even when clouds come over and block that light. I hope your star keeps on shining, and I hope that you can have peace in your heart and joy in your heart, and as you progress down your journey of success. Have a great day. Take
Thanks,
care.
Bonnie. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to today's story of hope and success. May your days be filled with hope, and may your journey be one of success. Keep shining.